I'm telling people, I'm saying that, my story is a good story because I can tell the details about things that people don't really know. And think of, usually. Our world didn't just drop from the sky and become what it is, even though some people would like to think so. And we give credit to that progress from nothing to what it is to God because, of course, God planned it all and He made everything possible. But if you have a person that's been there beside God over the centuries, and many, many centuries, right? If he's there all this time, he learns a thing or two. And if he really, really wants to be God, or replace God, as Cleopatra did, the fact is that they're going to spend their time and wait and see when they can catch him slipping. The quarrel between Satan and God, and it goes back actually to almost to creation, because as we see in the Bible, in Genesis, Satan deliberately went to Adam and Eve and told Eve that, oh, God is lying. You don't have to believe him. You're not going to die if you eat of the fruit. Taste it is good. And she tasted it and it was good. And he says, because the day that you eat thereof, you will become as gods, knowing the difference between good and evil. And immediately afterwards, she immediately knew the difference between good and evil. Adam also became aware. The fact is that, what was the difference? Why didn't we just have it in the first place? It's because you have to have something that celebrates God and separates people from good into bad and so forth. So if you have a person that's going to eat of the fruit, then what you have is, I don't mind if people just say I lost you. I don't give a fuck. You know what? The fact is that you're a cheap son of a bitch who never gave me nothing in 25 years of living inside my body, eating everything that went into my body, smoking everything that I smoked, and now you talk about I should quit smoking something like you gained some high intelligence when you decided to become God, even though you're still living inside my body. The fact is that these things, when you take them piece by piece, it's innocuous. But when you put it together, you say, well, over the centuries you must have had the differences of opinion that man should be told everything. That, oh well, life does not really end. Oh, instead we have a series of things that actually make you believe that it ends, and then you are born again in a different person and a different mind, and suddenly things are fine. But do you know, from what I have seen, there are 13 spheres just like this one. They're huge things, big, 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 big things. And they are linked together by something that I guess that round big white thing links them together, so that I don't know why it links them together. I guess I could find out, but there are 13 of them, and at the very end there are three whole big things just like this, absolutely full with nothing but souls. The souls are black souls waiting to be analyzed and counted. There's three of them that's absolutely filled. At the top of these three, there are things that fly above. They look like little monkeys, little black monkeys, and they have lights, two red lights, and they have something that they use, but they stop the souls from coming up and coming out. Now, just like we have terrorists here in the United States or elsewhere, where they're fighting for a cause, they have people that are also fighting, like the same battle that was going on back when Adam and Eve has continued every single day since then. And you have people who are not part of that battle, but part of another battle, but still part of the first. And they're fighting to get out of those vats. The vats are filled with people who have died and they just have nowhere to go. The fact is that these people occasionally, the reason they have those monkeys up there is people try to get out. They zap them and they go back down and they don't get loose. But occasionally, you do have people that are actually able to escape. And the fact that Cleopatra knows of much of what God's schedule and day is like, actually conferred with Michael, and they both came together on a plan which would take from God the tool that he uses to prevent big things from happening or small things from becoming big things. When the plan was hatched, Cleopatra knew of when a ship would be passing, and she knew that if I were to get sufficiently high, she could actually cause me to act in the way I did and thus bring down the craft. The people on the craft, more than likely a lot of them, were actually on Cleopatra's side and wanted to avoid living in heaven or wherever it is they were. So what you had was a pilot who jumped ship, and the ship came down. The tool was sent down to help Cleopatra after Cleopatra got shot in the crossfire happening in the motor room. In the motor room were 10 separate entities, and they were all invisible, so that you could just see the black hue of them. Once I saw what was going on there, they actually asked me, they said, we need your help, and we have to kill this person, killing this person. They didn't even say catching him. We have to kill this person, he's killed millions. And I'm saying, who could I possibly know that have killed millions? Well, the fact is that I, at some point, realized that they were talking about Michael, and they started to show me different intervals of how every time I'd been harassed by the police that it had been he, causing them to come to my attention, and they tried to persuade me that that was sufficient enough to help them terminate him. I should have paid more attention then, because now I'm rather wishing that I had. Because I would have gone through all that I've gone through over the past so many years just because misguided attempt to avoid the responsibility of gaining love on my own time. Instead, what I decided was I was going to love someone. I'll come into the really good parts. Well, it's what I would like to see. I don't really care about the park anymore, because if I'm caring about the park, it means actually dedicating something to someone whom I probably am not going to love her for a whole lot longer. I mean, I think I'm changing my thoughts and my mind about things, because after all, if you belong in hell and God wanted to save you, he could certainly save you himself, but he made it my duty that I have to. And if I don't save you, then I might be lost myself, because I don't want to disappoint my God. You know, I don't know, because, in wanting the park, I wanted the park basically because nobody else is actually trumpeting the good things that Michael Jackson has done. But I'm beginning to think that we may have to make it absolutely clear that we're talking about Michael Jackson, Forever Michael, #1, and not 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because clearly the crimes that were committed using each was committed by the rest of them. But if you say it was committed by the rest of them, you avoid the fact, the convenient fact, that each can also take you forward and backwards in time. The alibi that I was willing to give for Mr. Jackson is just destroyed completely in that sense. It only takes a second of more time to actually go back to the deed and come forward. It could really give people who have questions a really good answer to things that they couldn't explain before. You know, if you look at the elections in the United States, for instance, and you say, well, wait a minute, hanging chads and, you know, discomforting the votes of so many Asians or blacks or Hispanics. Oh, it's easy, very easy to manipulate things. I don't think any election is secure anymore. Not unless, I mean, it just can't be. I bet you anything that if we were to really do an examination of music and actually the disc itself, you could probably find that they're not produced in the manner that they usually are. And that's a guess. I don't have to be factual. I just have to raise questions. But I insist on being factual, and I insist on having all the facts that I state be relatable back to an actual fact. So I'm not guessing at things. The power could be. I hear you. Let me go see. We'll be right back in a moment. I'm about to go into areas about the workforce where so much money. It's a really funny story because who needs so much money? And why? And more important than that, why hasn't the government taken a look and found this for themselves? I'm gonna speak. I'm going to stop this session now because it's been going for 3 hours and we barely touched the surface. But when I do resume, we're going to be talking about how it has actually been used over the past 25 years since I actually abdicated responsibility for it to Mr. Jackson. It isn't an easy topic for me. None of it is easy, because as a reporter, I have need to tell the truth and make sure that the truth is heard, to allow people to actually weigh for themselves what it is and what it means to be in my position. My job is made easier by people who attack me when I'm sleeping, who go into my body and eat parts of my body while I'm sleeping, with the hope of removing all of me from existence, as they've done several people I've met here, over 13 people. And it is just high time that somebody stands up and just talks about shit, because once a person decides they are bigger and better than God, they better be able to walk the walk and talk the talk. Mr. Jackson fails. I'm sorry. Orange. Fails on all counts.